Have you ever decided to do something and then later on you realize it was one of the worst things you could ever do? Oh my gosh. Welcome once again to the Conduct's Blueprint, and today I will be sharing with you my top YYAS mistakes, the Yale Young African Scholars Summer Program, right here on the African continent. So, obviously, as you already know, if you've really watched that very video talking about how I got into the Yale Young African Scholars Program, you realize number one, I applied only 1 week towards the deadline, and that was already, a very small kind of gap to really allow me to work on my essays and actually perfect my entire application. But nevertheless, I did really get it, and these are top four of my YYAS mistakes. Every time when I really think about it, I'm like, I really screwed up. I really did some of the things I feel so terrible about, and perhaps that could have been different if at all I really rethought the whole kind of process. The first mistake is choosing the wrong cohort. Oh my gosh. I really remember at that very time, I'm not really, and this is a disclaimer, I'm not really trying to say the online program should be the residential program, that they are not really good. The online as in is inferior to the residential. No, it depends on your schedule and on what you prefer as a person. But to me personally, I really truly believe that I would have thrived much more on, if I really applied for the residential program compared to the online program. So this is what really happened after the very, period of time, working on my application within that very 1 week. I chose the online program. And the reason as why I chose the online program, number one, I had fear. I was fearing. I didn't want to, sort of meet new peers and spend all that time away from school. So I was like, I don't really want to spend all my summer period in some very random new kind of place. I was just, a high school freshman. I just really didn't know a lot of things, and because of that, I really chose the online program. Even though my experiences there, I really had very good and some kind of not so good experiences. I really feel like if I really chose the residential program, it would have been a much more thrilling experience where I got to interact with more peers in person compared to the online program, although it did also have benefits, as we are really going to look at that. So after choosing the online program, obviously there were certain good things, but my number two mistake was failing to reach out to as many peers as possible. Yes, you've chosen the online program, and there are very many students in that very online program, around 200. There should be around 200 slots to really give for the online program. And what I really did is, I remember at that very time I was in the medicine and health. Yeah, I was in the medicine and health kind of subcategory. That's where I was much more interesting, and I really interacted with students alongside that group. So if you were not in the medicine and health cohort, I wouldn't really sort of have a sort of conversation or even talk to you, because at that very time I was much more of this, I would say, conservative kind of person, to not wanting to too much of an introvert. I didn't really want to talk to people and expand my network. And the reason as to why I really feel that was a mistake is because that very network you do really get is really super important. You will never ever regret making such beautiful friends in such beautiful programs, because this is a very competitive high school summer program. The students that are really chosen are top of the top. So if you can really get that very expanded network alongside those very like-minded peers, it's really going to be very important and very helpful to you as a student and to growing your network in the future, which will really be very important as you're really transitioning to different parts of your life and trying to become a better version of yourself. So after, failing to reach out to as many people as possible, I didn't stop there. My third mistake was not utilizing the mentorship resources. So at times our mentors really had to come in, like your mentor is really coming in and just sending you PDFs to read or some video to watch, some assignment to complete, and you don't really have to report to them or schedule a meeting with them and try to talk about something. I didn't really do that. I just really waited for the main sessions of which I really attended, but I feel like I should have had much more experience if at all I really did leverage these very, one-on-one meetings with my mentors, because that would have really been very important in helping me and getting to know myself better and getting to utilize the resources around me in a much more better way. And I don't really want you to do that. So if you're really ap- applying or even planning to apply for the Yale Young African Scholars program, please utilize those very resources you don't really get, whether it's the residential program or the online program. Utilize every single damn resource you really have, because you don't want to feel like you really made this very mistake that I so after choosing that very what I would say not a much more favorable cohort to me, after failing to use the mentorship resources and failing to reach out to as many people as possible, I didn't stop there. I became too serious. That is my fourth biggest mistake. And the reason is why I say this, being serious is really very good. If you really want to mind your work and lock in and, do this very crazy work and, that is really super good. But this is a summer program. This is not school. You're not really going to be here for a year or two. This is like a 3 week or 2.5 week kind of, program. You want to utilize every moment. So I wish I really had more fun. I wish I really had more fun with my friends, and just come into the session and laugh about something and talk about experiences, and not just being this very, I would say, workaholic kind of dude. Just I was just like drawn to work every time, just walking. You know, if it's not some academic kind of thing, I don't want to talk to that very peer if it's not academic. Just talk about academic work, talk about how you're going to solve this problem or what your answer was for this very kind of question. And I don't really feel happy about that, because having fun and just getting to know people better, that's really very, very important as you are in that very Yale Young African Scholars summer program. Having fun just helps you to know other people in a much more expanded way beyond the academics, beyond the classroom. Because, in fact, that's what they really look for in the first place. They want to get to know you in a holistic kind of way, beyond your academics, beyond what you do. Who are you and what kind of person are you, and what kind of, impact you're really going to bring to the community. So actually getting to interact with the peers in a much more casual way and not being too serious, that would be my top recommendation for that very one student outside there that is really planning to really attend the Yale Young African Scholars program. And of course, it's really a very beautiful summer program. You can really apply, and lots of benefits. And if you just really want to get to know how to really go through the entire process, you can watch my video about how to get into the Yale Young African Scholars program. And if at all you really found this very video kind of really informative or really important to you as a student, you can really share it with your friends, with your family, and with any person you really feel this is really going to help them to become, or to actually, level up to be that very person they really want to become. Thanks for watching. Keep posted to the Conduct Blueprint.